Hello again. This is another little delve into the Society archives. Um, Something that I thought that you may all be interested in seeing. I'm pretty sure this is something that a lot of you wouldn't actually be aware of. I know a lot of you are aware of scripts, etc., but there's a lot that goes on behind the scenes when you're constructing an episode that isn't just the script. You know, the whole production department has paperwork and lots of it, you know, that's all needed for the compilation of an episode. And also the actors have to be given schedules of what they're going to be doing and where, and things like where they've got to go and where they've got to be and how to get there, where to park. So it's all sort of important stuff to do with the construction of the episode. And what we have here, we have what's called a filming schedule. Well, first of all, if I can tell you how I got this way back in the 90s from a chap called John Dawson. Now, John was Buster Merrifield's neighbour. He lived next door to Buster, and John with Buster was, well, he was Buster's driving force for Buster's autobiography. So consequently, he had lots and lots of paperwork that belonged to Buster that he was using for the compilation of the book, if you like. And way back in those days, I was very friendly with John because the Society used to advertise Buster's book for him. Can you believe that? You know, we used to send out little leaflets to people saying, if you want a copy of Buster's book and if you want it autographed and dedicated, just write in. And we would then send the orders to John Dawson, who lived next door to Buster, and Buster would fulfill the orders. And I used to talk to Buster quite often, really. I used to meet up with him, used to go to his little book signing events, all of that. They were just great memories. And when Buster passed on, a lot of paperwork that John had that he was just going to throw away, I was lucky enough to grab. And also some of Buster's personal artifacts. Nothing sensitive family-wise, but I got some of his painting brushes. He was a keen artist. I got some of his artwork. I got his colour palette. I've got a lot of the paraphernalia he used at his book signing events. I've got some of his personal letters that he wrote when he wanted to be an actor and things like that. As I say, nothing sensitive, but all stuff that John, who himself was a very sensitive person, was happy to pass on to a fan club, basically a society. And this was one of them. So what we have here is Buster's personal filming schedule for He Ain't Heavy, He's My Uncle, which is really, you know, the classic. Let me just zoom out a little tiny bit there. Buster episode, if you like. And on it, it sort of lists all the people who are important in the construction side of things. You know, like we've got Adrian Pegg there, who's a great friend of the Societies, and Gareth Gwenlyn is another name that you all may know. Robin Stubbs, who did all the costumes, he's another standout name. There you go. That's what it basically is. And if I just talk you through it, so you can see here, like on Sunday the 28th of October, this is the itinerary of things that they would have to do, how they would be able to park, where they would be going, what they would be shooting. So this is the cars crossing on Tower Bridge. Now, we all know that scene, but I bet many of you didn't know that it was Tower Thistle Hotel where they set the cameras up. And vehicle and props that were required on site, well, is the Capri and the trotter van, etc. Artists, none. So that means there was no Buster, Del Boy, Rodney wasn't required, and neither were any supporting artists, or what we would call extras. So that was on Sunday the 28th of October. And then on the same day, they would have belted round the corner to HMS Belfast to be shooting the scene with Rodney on the deck. And here you would see the artists required were Del Boy, Rodney and Uncle Albert. And you've got important contact information like the police and Shadwell Basin projects and so on and so forth. And the artists required... Oh, I think I jumped one then. No, the artist required for Rodney on deck was just Rodney. Then the next one would have been dialogue and cars arriving. So that was where the free trotters are required. That scene doesn't actually spring to mind. Sometimes that's kind of filmed out of order, or sometimes some of the scenes are dropped and then knitted together in a different way, which I can show you a little bit later. So then on the same day again, they went round to the Prospect of Whitby, the pub, where you see Rodney walking along outside, and it was raining. So, and Rodney was the artist required on the day. And then again on the same day, it was a really, really busy day for them, Queen Victoria Seaman's Rest, and Del checking the mission. The Capri, the dustbin and the mobile phone was required, and a safety harness for some reason. Again, the same day, coach to leave TV centre, main reception as directed by the assistant floor manager. Look, they had breakfast for 40 at 7:30 a.m. Coffee will be in flasks. You see how it's sort of like a snapshot of the history of the show and what was needed. So that's everything they got done on the 28th. Then on the 29th, they had breakfast at 7 o'clock. Then where did they go? Berwyn and Leighton to do Rodney amongst the commuters. See, that's another one I've always wondered. When he was walking along, were all those commuters extras, or was it the general public? Well, you can see there, supporting artists, none. So it literally was Nick Lindus walking along. Look, you can see they needed earpieces and receivers for Nick, so that they could probably say to him, look, stop, go around, do it again. Someone was staring at you. So that was on Monday the 29th. Rodney with the Tramps, bottles of cider and pound coins and old blankets. Del Boy in Cardboard City was also done that day with 8 youths. Del Boy questions the Chelsea pensioner. See, now, if you bear this in mind, and Del Boy with the phone, they filmed 2 lots with the pensioners, but then only ended up using one. I'll show you what I mean in a second. On Monday again, the Cut Street Market. Del in the market crowd talking to the trader. Have you seen Uncle Albert? And then Del and Rodney on mobile phone. That's probably when they're both in the same scene, because there's 2 phones required. I don't know, it just really brings it really to life. Imperial War Museum, just Del Boy when he was walking out. Hot dog stall, where Del realises where Uncle Albert is. Well, as you know, that's when he's sitting in with the pensioner. So they probably filmed both, and then just used one bit to cover that whole thing, that whole message given to the audience. What have we got here? Monday again, Rodney and Atlas with Van, trottle car, step ladders, chamois leather. Oh, that's because of the rain was pelting down. And now this one is interesting because they probably had Nick free that day for the Monday, so they bombed up to Stansted Airport to film the scene where Rodney's waiting for Cassandra, which is obviously from a different episode, as you know. So do you see how they sort of bolt things together? When we watch it, I know we're not all silly enough to think they just filmed it all purely in sequence, but they did what they can when they could, depending on who they had and what crew they had, and so on and so forth. So they jumped an episode here just to film a scene why they had Rodney in a free day, Nick Lindus in a free day. Dress locations, wig locations, Rodney. Ordinarily, other artists would be listed here, or extras, but there's nothing listed there. Then they've got maps and so on. I mean, when you're talking about the technicalities of things and what was filmed and why, Mike Jones will be so much better at this than I am. I'm very good at explaining what the thing is and how rare it is and what it can, framed up and used for, or the importance of keeping it for the collection. But when it comes to the technicalities of what they filmed and why and how they used this thing for that thing, how they jumped an episode and went back, how the continuation of the Trotter Flat is in the studio and why they've got it. They may film a scene that's used 4 or 5 episodes later. Mike Jones is your man. Mike is really, really in the matrix when it comes to things like that. Mike does all the BBC books, as you may know, and we're lucky enough he does all the programmes for us for the conventions, and he does the interviews on stage with Adrian Pegg, and the compilation clips he works on heavily with Keith and Steve Clark for when we're interviewing David Jason and Tony Dow. So Mike might actually be doing some videos to be put onto YouTube as well for us, because as I say, I can't do them justice, the technicalities of it all. Oh, that's what I meant to show you. Look, if you look on the back of this, Buster's made his notes. Isn't that nice? And it's quite hard to read his handwriting. Let's have a look. So like the car's coming for him at 10:30, or no, the read through is at 10:30. Can you see that there? Can't understand what he's written there. Sunday night, Kerry or something. I don't know. Monday night, Wednesday night. I did try and work out what all this meant one day. Maybe someone else can decipher what he's written there. It's all this joined up copperplate writing that gets me. But there, Buster must have just used this. This is a working document that Buster would have used. And at some point in time, he's just made some notes on the back of what time he's being picked off. Look, you've got a 6:15 finish there on Wednesday, the 28th of November. Again, it's just reaching out into the past, isn't it? How nice is that, to have all Buster's little notes on the back of a document that was used by Buster in He Ain't Heavy Is My Uncle, which is Buster's really great episode, isn't it? Of course. So there you go. That's another little art in the collection. Maybe we'll take it to a convention for people to have a look at some point. And yeah. So remember to follow us on YouTube and like our channel and all that jazz for more stuff like this. Bonjour.